You coming in, dog? I'm coming. No? Oh, f then.
MB Mark speaking.
No glasses. Go on, I'm going to start machining, I think.
Right, if we ever get to machining, we don't need to know the history.
How's my hair look? Does it? Oh, you'll be back on then.
This video is just about
Right,
the difference
okay.
between that.
Okay. Professional actors read scripts for years on end. I have got no script.
Well, I'll write you on that.
I'm making it up as I go along. Right, hello, me again. Luke's asked me to do a video on modifying pistons for reed valves. Why? Well, we do a lot of reed valves. A lot of people doing reed valves. We're selling lots of our reed manifolds, and there's others available as well. So the difference is, when I designed the British Race Tour kit, I did it as a piston port kit, which meant it was a simple kit. But I had in my mind, I can also do a reed valve and improve it. And by doing a reed valve, if you do it right, you do improve it, particularly on a 195 these days. It's around 6 to 8 horsepower improvement, pretty much across the rev range, using the same carbon exhaust and just converting the barrel to reed valve. So we get a lot of pistons in, and behind me, we have 2 new millers we bought last year just for this one job. And it saved me using the big miller over there and swapping all the tooling. Piston port piston, which is plain pistons. So that's a plain piston, no holes in the skirt at all. And then a reed valve version is something like this one. And it has 2 holes and a cutaway. And basically what it means is, with a reed valve, you can add an extra port above the inlet port called a boost port. So suddenly you get 3 transfer ports instead of 2. And you can put a reed valve manifold on, open out the inlet manifold, and then the piston needs to be open 360 degrees. There are other ways of doing that. If you read the books, forget it. 360 degrees works, and works every time. If you've ever tried running a reed valve with a standard piston port cylinder kit, you might stop some spit back. You'll probably lose power. If you do a reed valve with a boost port and a standard skirted piston, you're going to lose power. It's not until you get 360 degrees total opening period of your piston and your inlet port that you start to get good results with a reed valve. Then you can stop worrying about that, and you can concentrate on transfer port timing, exhaust port timing, and different exhausts and carbs. So that's the reason we want holes in a piston. And I'm going to show you how to machine holes in the proper way. There are other ways. You can do it in a vise with a drill. Trust me, I've done it. It takes forever. You break pistons, you crack pistons, you slip and make a right jolly old mess of it. And I still see these pistons that people are doing these days, making a mess of it. Age-old problem with Lambretta pistons is, in Ascenti and after in Ascenti, other manufacturers copied this design around the budging pin. And they always used to crack there and there. I had a bike came one day, and he never even knew it were rattling. I said, that sounds shite. What's wrong with it? And then we took his exhaust off, and there was no piston. We had to turn the engine over. And he'd driven, and his piston skirt had come off, and it was missing. All I could see was a conrod. So it proves a Lambretta can get home, even when it's totally knackered up. I like to make a little jig, so everything we do afterwards is all the same. So if you mark the jig up to the skirt, you can scribe in, scribe and scribe, and you're left with what needs removing on the machines. So with a sharp implement, I keep the jig tight and I'll scribe. So scribe, scribe, and I use a pencil on the cutout. And I'll only cut just up to the pencil line. If I scribe it, I have to cut beyond the scribe, and it makes this area weaker. I still haven't started any of the work I want to wade through.
rambler.
I'm a waffler. Professional waffler with loads of stories.
Yeah.
Right, this is our new little mini milling machine. And I made this fixture. It's all variable and movable. And this part can come out and move and be turned as well. And this is designed so it's adjustable to use different crown height pistons. This is the long standard Lambretta piston. And a bar goes through it, both sides. These are made in square, so this can stay movable and central. And this is cut and designed so we can have a small piston in it from 64mm out to say 72mm piston. And it's just designed so it locks on the dome at the back by two little nuts at the back. So we pull it tight. That's pulled the bar of the piston into this muff. Into this muff. And then we just wobble it a little bit. It just centres itself as I'm tightening up. It's centering itself. But we don't want that to move in the machine when we're doing the milling. We're going to cut the two squares out. They're not really squares, they're rounded off squares. And we'll move the piston into the next machine and we'll do the cutout. So I have to, it's not a CNC machine, it's a manual machine. And I have to mark this up now and I have to start cutting through the holes. Right, so I've got to cut this hole out, the second hole. I've done the first one, but for the camera, we want to get a better shot now. So we're going to bring the mill cutting tool down roughly into the middle of the piston, but well away from the scribe line so we don't interfere with what we're going to do. And I have to bore through like a drill for the first hole slowly, just let it feel it cutting away. So it pops through a little, pop, and then we're going to move it across. So now, if you look, we've got 2 or 3mm around the piston. So I'm going to work at it. I'm coming close up to the scribe line, maybe 1mm away. And I'm going to cut square now. So you're seeing burrs around there. These will come off in the operation in the tuning room. But we've got a nice square to be finished off. So I've done the slide 1 metre across to this new machine we've bought in just for this second operation. Just a little bit of careful lining up into the middle of the piston. And we'll move in slowly till the cutter just touches. And I lift out. I turn in and I go down into this muff. In, down, out, in, down. And that's that operation done. Easy. One nearly finished piston. But what happens now is I need to do a chamfer on here to get rid of this big bulky bit of casting. And it's made bulky there for strength. And it's bulky around where the 2 square holes was cut as well, again for strength. The operation now is to hand grind this out with a die grinder. Then I'll polish it. Then I'll clean it. Then I'll chamfer the piston and tell you why I'm doing that. And then I'm going to clean up square hole. Here we go. I've put a nice little chamfer to it, and it's all about sending out a product where the customer looks at it and says, that's tidy, that's neat, not whose machine that, a blind man on a galloping horse or some bodger with a chisel. So a couple of operations now. We use a big flat wheel on the inside first. So now it's smoothed out the heavy cutter. Now we're going to move over here. So now that was done with a coarse flat wheel. I'm going to do this with a finer flat wheel. Right, what I did there was the standard piston is cut with 90 degrees around these edges. 90 degrees going down the bore doesn't make it, it scrapes off the oil going down the bore. What I like to do is put a chamfer on roughly 20 or 30 degrees all the way around. So when the piston's going down the bore and you have oil on the bore, you've got a chance of some oil coming around up the side of the skirt of the piston, because the leading edge is pushing oil into the skirt, not trying to scrape it off. Now there's a scooter tuning manual saying do it at 45 degrees. 45 degrees is that. It still gives a sharp chamfer. So I go 20 to 30. And it just helps that piston be a little bit more reliable over the years. So I've gone all the way around the skirt, around the cutouts. These have got the rounded cutouts, not like the old TS1 Lambretta pistons with a sharp cutout, so you don't get cracks here. And I've gone all the way around, and I've let a leading edge in there as well. That's for the piston to go over the inlet port and into the inlet port, because they're quite big when you do a reed valve. And then these two sides are giving support, as well as the middle section giving support. The middle section runs over the boost port, because the boost port goes between the two ring peg positions here. So at some point, that has no support, because it's a boost port in the way, or not in the way, and these sides run down the side of the bore. So you're getting two points on the outside supporting the piston, and you do get the central one supporting the piston. So that's one operation done. It's nice and smooth, nice to the touch, nice to the eye. I'm then going to go on to cleaning out the little squares. So all I'm going to do now is just clean out the milling. Most people would let it go as it is. It's nice and tidy, but I just want it a little bit tidier. So I've now cleared out any milling, just little chatter marks. As you can see, all I was doing was colouring in really with the grinder. I wasn't grinding or pushing, just letting the tip do the work just to clean out any marks so it's tidy inside. And then the final stage. So now I'm using a really fine file, and I'm going to file off the burrs and any little scratch mark just to blend it in tidy. So that's a nice clean chamfer, nothing sharp, no burrs on the inside. I like to see comments that people appreciate all the bloody work I put into these bastard things. Right, 2 square holes done. Got some swarf on it. They've got a nice little face there, like this.
Oh, I'm not putting that in.
Why?
I'm not putting that in.
One more thing to do. Blow off the swarf, wash off the swarf, blow it again, and then it's ready for the shop. One clean piston. Ta-da! Job done. I'm just editing a lot of this. It's hard because it just comes out of my head, all these memories. Well, it's all relevant, how to get a piston. Oh, what now? Camera.
Can you see on that screen if you can see what you need to do?
Yeah. Not anymore. That button. So the machine's pre-set up. Oh, for f***'s sake. Battery.
It's right on.
Oh, for
And not press record.
Oh, for fuck's sake. That needs cutting, boy. because I'm under pressure with all these cameras on.
LambrettaSpares.com